Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day, and I also hope that you are experiencing some success selling some of your KDP books. Now, chances are you are watching this video because you're wanting to know more about KDP and how to get started yourself, and part of that is watching lots and lots of videos. I know that when I first started out, I pretty much binge watched a whole heap of videos on YouTube around KDP and was listening to the advice of others. Some of that may have been good advice, some of that might have been bad. It's a bit hard to know unless you actually start actioning some of the things that you're learning in those videos. But there is one thing that has come up in my searches and my watching over the last couple of weeks, and that is around the use of Canva images within the KDP books. I watched this video from a fellow YouTuber, and she was explaining how she's no longer going to be using Canva images within her KDP books. And I thought that was really interesting because if you are doing KDP, the chances are you are using Canva quite consistently. So this kind of scared me a little bit because I thought, oh no, I don't want to have any books suspended. She was commenting that she had 150 books blocked, and she went through and tried to work out exactly why they were blocked, and part of that reason came down to the use of an image or images in Canva. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. Before I get started though, I want to say that I'm not here to inform you about the laws. I am here to just let you know what my story is and what my choices are going to be moving forward. At the moment, I have 5 books now that I've unpublished, and I unpublished them because I created them using Canva. What I had done, stupidly I know, is I had taken one of the photographs, for instance, that were in Canva, and I put it on the front cover, and then I embellished it with a few things and put a title on it. The other thing that I did throughout the pages was I took a piece of clip art and then I just placed it on the page, minimized it down and so forth. So let's just have a quick look at Canva's content license agreement. I'll put the link to this in the description below so you can have a closer look yourself. Things that I want to point out to you are this one. So all content on Canva is protected by United States and international copyright. Canva and its contributors reserve all rights that aren't explicitly given to you under this license. That includes all copyright and intellectual property rights. So ultimately, the images that you're using within Canva are copyright to Canva, and you have a license to use them. The other thing that strikes me here is that Canva does reserve the right to cancel or change the licenses granted by this agreement. We reserve the right to replace the content with an alternative. So this is another thing that struck me, because if you're using content from Canva in KDP and they then make changes to the licenses to that particular content, that could have an impact. Scrolling down, we then get to this section, which is the free content license. Now, this is really important because you can check the source of any image by hovering over the content in Canva, but then it says things like, if it comes from Pixabay, refer to the Pixabay license. If it comes from Pexels, refer to the Pexels license. And then it also talks about public domain and checking the CC0 license, all the sources listed. So they are passing the responsibility of using images in your designs or in your KDP books to you. So that ultimately, they're not the ones that get sued in the end if they are used inappropriately or without those permissions. Now, getting a license is issued to you when you export a Canva design. Okay? Free content licenses are issued at no cost. Pro content licenses are issued by paying if you're a free user, so you can pay per image, or if you have a Canva subscription, then obviously you have the license to use those images that are there in Canva. Now, when we get down to permitted uses of all content on Canva, except Pro Music and Popular Music, it does explain what you are able to use it on. And here we have entertainment applications such as books and book covers, magazines, newspapers, editorials, newsletters, and video broadcast and theatrical presentations of unlimited prints. So here we could see this as being books and book covers. So you would assume then that, yep, this is okay for KDP. I'm talking about KDP books. That's different if you are creating things like templates, or you might be creating posters, things that you're uploading to Etsy that you're selling in a digital format, that kind of thing. There are things you need to do, but this isn't directly impacting KDP. And then we have prohibited uses. In prohibited uses, this is one to keep an eye on as well, because you definitely can't use or display the content on a standalone basis. Now, this standalone basis is really important because it means that the image hasn't been manipulated in any way. And this standalone basis is websites or other venues designed to induce or involve the sale, license, or other distribution of on-demand product, postcards, mugs, t-shirts, posters, and other items. So this means that you can't just go in, take a design that's in Canva and download it and pop it onto a t-shirt, because it is not an image that belongs to you. You haven't done anything to create an original piece using that image with others. Further down still, violation of this. Canva will keep track of your designs in your account to make sure you're not breaking this license or any of our terms. This might include monitoring downloads and exports, retaining details of your Canva designs, and tracking abuse of your username and password. If you do break this license, we may suspend or terminate your account without notice. If your account is terminated for violating this license or any abuse, you'll lose all rights to content, and Canva designs must immediately delete all content and Canva designs acquired from Canva and forfeit all fees paid. You can terminate your content license by destroying the content in Canva design along with any copies or archives of it. Okay, so there's some serious repercussions if you do these things. So this is just to be mindful of. Now, if you've used KDP images, if you have used Canva images, don't get stressed, okay? Don't get stressed. You don't need to get stressed. I'm going to show you why. Remember, I'm just talking about KDP, so I just want to go into KDP now. Now, the problem that I could make out that this lady was talking about wasn't with Canva. Canva's got some really clear boundaries around its use of images, and you can use it for a ton of things. It's a fantastic program, and I'm going to continue to use it, absolutely. But in terms of KDP, I'm going to probably just be using Canva to set out my books and pages, but use my own images. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because when you go into your dashboard and you're uploading a book, you have to select either that the work is a public domain work, or I own the copyright and I hold necessary publishing rights. Okay, now if I'm using the images, I just find this term so loose. I own the copyright. Now, if I think about this book and the images that I've used, and they are from Canva, they're not my images. I don't have the copyright to use those images in my book. And holding the necessary publishing rights, I'd feel more comfortable if this actually said, I hold the necessary licensing agreement, but it doesn't. It's publishing rights. Now, publishing rights are a little different because they are a type of copyright that's granted to a publisher who first publishes a previously unpublished work after that original's copyright has expired. So I got that one off Google. So if I'm thinking about this particular book, inside the book I use pieces of clip art. Those pieces of clip art do not belong to me. I do not hold the copyright, and I do not have permission from the person who created that clip art to use it. So that is where it gets a little bit tricky. And this is why I'm making a decision that I am going to now source my images either through AI or I'm going to draw them myself. Now remember, I'm telling you about a case where I've used a standalone image. Now, standalone image on its own, no, you can't just keep putting that on designs. However, if you have a standalone image and then you add it to multiple other images and you create a new design. Now I know this doesn't incorporate the rose into the one I'm showing you, but you kind of get the idea. I just didn't have enough time to get another picture. So imagine that rose is in this multi-floral graphic design, and you've just used the top of that, and you've incorporated leaves and other bits of clip art, and you've made this entirely new design. Well, then that's a little bit different, because now you have followed the content licensing agreement in Canva in that you are putting together multiple elements. The image that you're using within Canva is not a standalone image anymore, but you've also developed a completely new design using those elements. This is called an artist copyright. So when you do see videos where people are using Canva to create, say for instance, children's book pages, this is essentially what they are doing. They're taking elements from Canva, they are putting them all together to create a new design, which is protected under the artist copyright. And yes, you are allowed to then check that particular box on KDP. Now, whilst this is the case, I personally am wary of that for the reasons that I mentioned in this video. But I believe that it is perfectly fine to do. And when looking at the advice from others who have sought clarification from Canva and from other sites that source images, this is the line that they're going down. Now, first of all, I just want to say, yes, you can use Canva elements in your KDP designs. However, I do just want to let you know what my experience has been, what decisions I'm going to make. And you might think that I'm being a bit extreme here, and you might totally disagree with me, and that's okay. This is my own personal decision, okay? I'm not telling you that you need to do that. I am telling you what I've read and what I've interpreted from it and what I'm going to do moving forward. I'm going to continue to keep my Canva subscription because I do use Canva for digital products. I can, under their agreement and their licensing, I'm allowed to use that for things like thumbnails, Pinterest ads. I do templates. I do a ton of things, but I'm going to use Canva for that. When it comes to KDP, I am going to use, like I said, AI, or I'm going to draw the images myself. What I want to avoid is any future changes where I have any of my books suddenly be blocked because may not be in that boundary of their content licensing agreement. I can't imagine how awful it would be to have been working in KDP, and I know you don't put all your eggs in one basket, and you hear that quite a lot, but if you had been working really, really hard to set up a KDP business, maybe you've gone to all the effort of developing a brand on KDP, only to find that that whole thing comes falling down because of this one thing, just like this woman that I told you on YouTube who had mentioned about her 150 blocked books. She had to work through that. She made changes with original images and everything was fine, but in that time that she had to do that, that was lost revenue. Okay, that was definitely lost business. I don't know how this is going to go down the track with AI either. There are a lot of cases at the moment that are being tried in courts about who has the ownership of the AI content that's been generated. We don't yet know an outcome for that. So I guess that's going to be a bridge that I'll have to cross when I get to it. In my case, I was using them as standalone. So I had a page and I was taking a piece of clip art and I was putting it in as a background behind a page. And I can't do that. It's a standalone. I can't do it. So that is the reason why I unpublished my books, and I'm now going back through and checking my others, because even if it's the smallest little thing on a page, if it isn't part of a new design, then I don't feel like I am doing justice to the licensing terms and conditions there. I don't think that having a clip art with some lines over the top of it constitutes an original design. And that's why I've gone through and I've made some changes. Thanks for sticking around and watching the video today. The purpose of this video was not to frighten you or to get you worried about anything that you've done with KDP in terms of using Canva and images and elements. The purpose of the video was to let you know my experience. Based on the information that I've got, this is what I'm going to do moving forward. One, I'm going to continue using Canva. I enjoy Canva. I think it's a great program. If I'm making a design on Canva, I'm going to use multiple images in that design and not use standalone images, because that is not okay. And the third thing is, wherever possible, I'm going to start creating some of the images that I need to use within Canva, and I'm going to upload them. That way I know my books have got purely original content in them, and I can upload them, and I don't have to worry about anybody or anyone or any company changing any of their licensing conditions, and then me finding myself that I have got books up that need to have their interiors resorted again. The good thing is that KDP allow you that opportunity to do that. If you have any more questions for me, make sure you pop them in the comments, and until then, I'll catch you in the next video. Keep creating those books.